I have a plan, a strategy, a tactic. Now, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is, however, a way to make a lot of money very fast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Honest Realtor podcast. I'm your host, David Fleming. Thank you for joining me today. As you saw my smirk, I couldn't even get through that introduction without kind of laughing because it's a good line, right? It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's just a way to make a lot of money fast. I might have stolen that from The Simpsons. I'm not sure. But folks, as long as man has roamed the earth, there have been schemes, gimmicks, stunts, tactics, if you will. And P.T. Barnum famously said, "A sucker is born every day." Now, I am sure that even in the days of cavemen, there were some cavemen that were scheming other cavemen for their woolly mammoth fur blankets or whatever they had. The point is this, guys. As long as mankind has roamed this earth, there have been schemes. And today we are going to talk about schemes, or in this case, I'm choosing to use the word gimmicks, in real estate. But first, I want to talk about gold. I want to take you back to 2009, before I had kids. God, it was a different time. But in 2009, and now I'm really going to date myself, before everyone watched Netflix and Paramount and Disney and Amazon and Crave and all that other stuff, I used to like to flip, Remember flipping? The older folks are like, yes, on the TV. It's 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. Wife's asleep. Great. I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip channels. What I mean by that is I'd love to watch like 15 minutes of, Die Hard. And then when it gets to a commercial, I'll flip. And oh my God, there's Tombstone. Then when it gets to commercial, I'll flip to Executive Decision with Steven Seagal. But at some point, I left the TV on a commercial because I was hooked. It was a commercial where they wanted you to send them your gold in exchange for money. 2009, guys, bear with me here. But I'm watching this, and there's some TV pitchman saying, send us your unwanted gold, broken gold, your tarnished gold. And I'm sitting there thinking, hang on a second. Gold is valued by weight. It doesn't matter if it's unwanted. What would you say about your stock certificates? Send us your unwanted stock certificates of Toronto Dominion Bank. It made no sense. And I'm watching this infomercial and I can't change the channel because I'm hooked. Because it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Send us your broken gold. Send us your unwanted gold. Send us your gold that is, quote, gathering dust, laying around. I absolutely could not believe it. And then they said, call now and we'll send you a free G-Pack. It was a Ziploc bag with an address on it. The gimmick was to get people to take their gold and mail it to a company who would then send them an undetermined amount of money. Now, as we know, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I'm telling you, cash for gold, dollars for gold, whatever it is, these companies are everywhere. But in 2009, it was the very first time that I ever heard this, and it was insane. And what I did, October 16th, 2009, was write a blog called The Friday Rant, The Dumbest Thing I've Ever Seen. You can Google that, Toronto Realty blog. It was 17 years ago. And this remains one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And as mentioned, of course, these places are everywhere. But imagine your unwanted gold, your broken gold. Come on. What a gimmick. So I want to talk today about real estate sales gimmicks. And I'm going to give you 10 sales gimmicks that you may or may not be familiar with, but which are very, very common. Now, fair warning. For some of you folks, you will have experienced or fallen into this, and there's nothing wrong with that because every single one of these gimmicks has exceptions to the rule, and I'll explain what that is. And fair warning for real estate agents is you might be guilty of using some of these gimmicks, and you are going to get defensive, and I am sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But the best Last Honest Realtor podcasts are the ones where folks do, in fact, disagree. So as I said, rule of thumb, everything on this list has the exception to the rule, but for the most part, these are gimmicks. So I'm going to start with one that's going to ruffle the feathers of a lot of agents. Number 10 on my list of real estate marketing gimmicks is I'm going to market your property internationally. Now, right off the bat, people are mad. You're a real estate agent, you're like, come on, no, what? I do that. You're a seller, and you're like, but my agent did that. Here's the thing, guys. Listen, I'm a full service agent. I work for a family brokerage, traditional business model. Companies like mine all have affiliates, companies they work with that market properties around the world. So I'm offending my colleagues at Bosley, in addition to Chestnut Park and Sotheby's and Royal LePage and Harvey Callis. But here's the thing. Marketing your property internationally was effective once, but We have a foreign buyer ban in Canada. Period, full stop. We've had a foreign buyer ban for 4 or 5 years. And more to the point, we have speculation taxes, 25% and 10% provincially and municipally, that basically ban anybody who can buy from doing so unless they can jump through a million different hoops. So, what good is marketing a property internationally when we've had a foreign buyer ban for 4 years and we have speculation taxes? To market the fact that you can, quote, expose your listing to the international market is a real estate sales gimmick in 2026, and you are not going to change my mind. Now, here's a story for you. Years ago, before the foreign buyer ban, I'm going to sound like a jerk. No, I'm going to tell you the story. Before the foreign buyer ban, so go back to like 2018. I'm interviewing a seller on Main Street, and that's not fake. Main Street in any town, USA. No, on Main Street, right? Just south of Danforth. And she said to me, I'm smiling. If you're listening, you can't see it, but I have what you might call a you-know-what eating grin. I'm doing it again. She said to me, what are you going to do to market my property internationally? And I said, can I be honest with you? I can't get through this without laughing. This was like a $700,000 semi-detached bungalow. I said, can I be honest with you? And she said, sure. And I said, can I be honest to a fault? And she said, yes. I said, you don't need to market your property internationally. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, with all due respect, you have a semi-detached bungalow on Main Street. Nobody in Paris is, going through brochures, looking at photos of your home. Now, call me a dick, and that's totally fine. I remember she crossed her arms across her chest, but she had told me that the previous agent that came in sold her on this entire pitch. And I don't know if it was, Christie's or, Leading RE or one of these companies, but I was being honest, and honest to a fault. Nobody that's relocating to Canada, nobody that's looking at one of these websites is interested in your 2-bedroom semi-detached bungalow on Main Street that's $700,000. And so again, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to be honest, right? That's the whole gimmick of the Last Honest Realtor. I just call my podcast a gimmick. But guys, with the foreign buyer ban and with the non-resident speculation taxes, for someone to walk in and say, I'm going to market your property internationally is an absolute farce. Now, marketing internationally is great for luxury homes. Yes, absolutely. But the agent interviewing with the owner of a 1-bedroom in Liberty Village that's going to be listed for $399 saying, I can market your property internationally is a classic real estate huckster. Number 9, real estate gimmicks. This is one of my favorite. Sales statistics. So again, I'm going to tell you a story. Am I coming off as a jerk here, guys? But I'm at a listing and the agent says to me, the seller says to me, what's your sales to list ratio? Now, fair question. And I'm sure that someone else had mentioned sales to list when they were interviewing, or maybe a friend of theirs said that it's important. And I said, I don't know. Why? And she said, how can you not know? I said, because it doesn't matter. And she said, it's really important. It's a measure of your success. So I said to her, if I took a $1 million house and listed it for $100,000 and I sold it for $1 million, my sale to list ratio would be 1,000%. Would you be impressed? I did get that listing for what it's worth. And I hope you don't think I'm being a jerk there, but the point is, I have this saying, you can make numbers say anything you want. And I talk about this all the time when I write my blog. If I were to, for example, last night, and by the time this airs, I'll have done this deal, but I was working with this agent and telling him that the comp he's using from 13 months ago, it's way down. The market's way down. So I went and I looked at 7 different real estate statistics. The GTA average, the 416 average, the 416 detached. I looked at the HPI for Toronto, the HPI for the GTA. And what I found were statistics that were all over the place. So I deleted 2 or 3 of them, and I kept the ones that made my argument. Because the HPI is only down 1.2%, but the 416 detached is down 7.3%. And then I took those numbers and showed him what his listing is worth. You can make numbers say anything you want. So for me, when you look at real estate sales statistics, there is no better opportunity to enact a gimmick than say sold over asking. Sold over asking. Imagine putting the rider up. So a rider is what you put at the top of your sign. So putting the sold sign on, right? Sold over asking. I hate it. I hate it so much. Sold over asking. Now let's say this. Let's say you have $1 million house and you list it for $799. You sell it for $950. So quick math, what's 150 divided by 800? So say it's roughly 15, 17%. So say that you tout sold over asking. And then you tell people, I sold this for 115% of list. Dude, you sold it for less than it's worth. And this is my point. You want to really impress people, list it for $1. Sell it for $1 million and you have like, I don't know, 1,000,000,000% sale to list ratio. Real estate sales statistics are absolutely useless. So days on market, someone asked me, what's your average days on market? Well, here's the thing. If I were to tell you my average days on market is 2, would you be impressed that I was able to sell them really quickly? Or would you be like, well, are you just trying to sell it as fast as possible? Now, what about offer dates? I always strategize. I take offers exactly 6 days after I list in a hot market for properties that should be sold on an offer date. So if someone else came in and they're like, my average days on market is 1.7, they're just enacting a different strategy. So I understand, like, if you're in a completely different market and every house is the same, there's no condos, there's no low end, there's no high end, it's just everything is the same and every agent is the same, that metric works. But that is in a vacuum. It is completely freaking irrelevant. So now what about the agents that are like number one? I'm number one. Every agent is number one. Every single agent is number one somewhere. I mean, sure. But does that impress you? Number one, and then there's an asterisk, and then on a billboard, it tells you exactly why. So listen, there's way too many people in real estate using numbers to say whatever they want. And I personally think you're far better off talking to your best friend who used an agent to sell, who spoke to that person every day for 6 months, and get that referral than you are to ask agents what their sale to list ratio is. Sales statistics are absolute real estate gimmicks. Now, number 8. Oh, this is so good. I'm having fun with this one. I hope you guys are too. Number 8 real estate gimmick. I am going to expose your property off market to my comprehensive database of buyers. Do you see what I was doing there? Jordan Belfort, Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street. Remember, this stock has huge upside potential with very little downside risk. I know the movie off by heart. Aerotine International, cutting-edge, high-tech firm out of the Midwest, waiting for imminent patent approval. Now, in the scene I'm talking about, when he's selling off the pink sheets, he does this thing with his hand. He says, I believe a mere $6,000 investment, you could net a profit of upwards of $60,000. For those of you listening, you didn't see the movement in my arm, but I repeat that all the time when I am making fun of hucksters like Jordan Belfort in that movie. And the guy on the phone is like, that's my mortgage. It's nonsense. And I hear this all the time. And I'm using the Leonardo DiCaprio voice. I'm going to expose your property to my off-market comprehensive database of buyers. Okay, marketing to a comprehensive database of buyers. First of all, and I don't want to swear, I call BS on that. How many buyers is in your comprehensive database? Who are they? Are they active right now? What are they looking for? Are they all looking for exactly what it is that I am interviewing for in this listing today? How did you get them? Again, how many? The reason I ask is because everybody uses the MLS system. Agents, buyers, hobbyists, fanboys, and girls of real estate. Now, I'm not saying that off-market deals don't exist. In previous podcasts, I have told you that I have done off-market deals. What I am saying is that it is not a marketing strategy. A one-off, sure. And, listen, in previous podcasts, I mentioned that an agent around the corner from here, he had a property that he was going to be bringing to market. I had a buyer. We connected. That's not what I'm talking about here. As I said, there are exceptions to every single one of these gimmicks that I am describing today. What I am saying is that any agent who suggests that they have some sort of hidden, secret, patented, valuable list of magical buyers they can work with to sell your property rather than exposing your listing to the entire buyer pool is absolutely totally full of it. Do you want the most exposure? Do you want the most eyes? Do you want the most buyers? Put your property on the open market for all to see. Why? It's a numbers game. Get in front of the most buyers. The most people that see it, the higher percentage chance you get interest, offer, and higher price. Now, as I said, there are exceptions to the rule. If you have a $20 million house, you don't need MLS. You need Jimmy Malloy, right? Or no disrespect to the other folks that are in those areas, the Pauls and Christians and so on and so forth. But the point is, $20 million houses, sure, they show up on MLS, But that's a market that's transacted primarily off market with people that are in the know. If you have a 1-bedroom condo in Liberty Village, I'm really hammering Liberty Village, and a real estate agent comes in and says, I'm going to expose your property to my network of buyers in my database. It's nonsense, man. And I hear this all the time. What did I say? Expose your property off market to my comprehensive database of buyers. I just pictured Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. So, number 7 real estate gimmick. This one really bothers me. Coming soon signs. Now, this all changed a couple of years ago, but you used to put up a coming soon sign to say that what? The property was coming soon. Of course. But the problem and the reason that the organized real estate body stepped in with some new rules is because, as with everything else, agents were abusing it. You now have to have coming soon to MLS. You are only allowed to put up a coming soon sign 72 hours before the property is on MLS. And I will tell you what, there's a massive penalty for those agents that put up a coming soon to MLS, then they sell it off market and don't bring it to MLS. And there should be. You're part of a board. You've put up a sign. It's about consumer protection. You've said coming soon to MLS. You are part of a system that cooperates with other brokerages and other agents. And then you go and sell it off market. Tisk, tisk. That happened. A friend of mine messaged me about it in his area. And I was like, report it. So we'll see what happens there. Now, before all this, and I will say before all this, and it still happens, there are still lots of agents that break the rules. We put up these signs because it's just another marketing technique. Like, it's nothing crazy. But listen, I had a listing on Caribou, and I put up a coming soon sign on a Sunday because we were bringing it out the following Wednesday. I received 3 phone calls. One of them was from somebody in the area that wanted to know if I was interested in their design work. But 2 of them were from people that were interested. And of course, they had real estate agents. And I said, yes, we're coming out on Wednesday. I'm happy to get in touch with your agent. It is another marketing technique. It is, like everything else, a bit of a gimmick unto itself. But the gimmick that I am complaining about today is the agent that wants leads. They are looking for people to call them who want to transact in real estate. And let's say that they put up a coming soon sign. And like me, they got 3 phone calls. Now, in that case, 2 of them had agents and 1 was someone looking for design work. But let's say that they got someone that said, hi, I'm interested in the house. Wouldn't it be beneficial for that agent to put up a coming soon sign for like a month? That's what agents do. And they still do it, even though there are rules against it. There was one on Parkhurst Boulevard, I kid you not, and it was coming soon for 6 weeks. And this is before the new rules came in. And I flagged that, and I don't want to narc on people. But yeah, I did report it. Coming soon, it said, for 6 weeks. You know what? It never came. It never went onto MLS. That 100% was a gimmick by a real estate agent farming for leads. People see the sign, they call them, and then I don't know what the gimmick is from there. That agent says, oh, listen, I don't think it's right for you, but I do have something else. Or that agent says, let me get your information. And I get into the DiCaprio voice. Let me get you information and I'll call you back when I have something suitable. It is a gimmick. And this is what agents used to do. Sometimes, as I said, even though there are rules against it, they still do it. I've literally seen agents put up a coming soon sign on a property that never comes to MLS. It is pathetic. And I think if an agent is caught doing this, Rico should take their license away. Next one. Here's a ditty. Here's one that's going to really bother people. Gimmick number 6, the just listed flyer. Oh, so many of you are mad at me right now. You know why? Because when you listed your house or condo, your agent did just listed cards. In fact, the agents that are watching this right now or listening to this are like, David, what are you talking about? Now, hear me out. If you're a seller and you're interviewing agents, do you want the agent to send out ad mail? Just listed. Now, you call it junk mail. Do you want to open your mailbox one day and pull it out, and there it is, just listed, and it's your house? Just listed cards, for those of you that don't know, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it says just listed. It's got your address, it's got the price, it has a few photos, and then on the back it has a photo of the agent, some jerk, it's a real estate agent in their pose, and it's got their name and their contact information and maybe a little bit about the house. If you're a seller and you want to see that, you're making it about you. You've fallen into the trap. Just listed cards advertise the real estate agent, not your property. Now, it does advertise your property, but to who? So let's work through an example. We're in Leaside right now. Let's say I have a listing in Leaside, and I decide to send out just listed cards. I'm going to send it to Leaside. But wait, the 4,000 people that live in Leaside, they all already own homes in Leaside. What are we talking about here? Now, exceptions to the rule. I send out a just listed card for $4 million house, somebody in a $1.6 million semi that's looking to move up. Sure. But hear me out here. The just listed card is a way for a real estate agent to market themselves and their services. What does a just listed card say? It says, I'm a real estate agent. I do business. I have people that trust me enough to sign a listing agreement with me, and here is proof of it, folks. So you should do the same thing. Just listed card is used by geographic agents to get future business. Now, not too long ago, I was interviewing for a listing, and they asked me, what's your competitive advantage? My competitive advantage is that your house that you've done nothing to in 15 years, we're going to renovate this. Obviously, we're not paying for it, but we have a contractor we do pre-listing renovations with. We're going to drop bins off on your front porch. You're going to pack them up. We're going to take them to storage. We're about logistics. We're about, what's that word? Marketing. Marketing your property. We're marketing your property. Marketing it by taking these worn floors, these ugly paint colors, and the water-soaked carpet in the basement and redoing it all. That's the best marketing there is. And he said to me, but I interviewed this other firm, and their competitive advantage is their marketing. And I said, I'm all ears. He said, do you send out just listed cards? And again, I said to him, do you want the honest truth? He said, sure. I said, that firm is sending out just listed cards to get future business. That's what they do. Because nobody, in the time it takes to sell your house, which is, the type of property you're listing, you're setting an offer date for, and you're selling 6 days later, it's not going to bring anybody in. I mean, maybe it brings in one person, but it's an entry-level house. Sure, maybe you have a renter down the street. As I said, there's exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, guys, and I don't think that after hearing this that you're going to disagree with it, but just listed cards are a way for the agent and the firm to secure future business. And at the same time, they can tell you they're spending money on your listing. It is an absolute win-win for them. They need people to see their names, faces, and ultimately the fact that they can list and sell real estate. And what I would say is, if you sent out a just sold card, absolutely. That is unequivocally the agent marketing themselves. We would all agree. Just sold. You're saying, I'm a real estate agent. I sold this house. You should hire me and I can do the same thing. What's the difference between the just sold and the just listed? Just saying. Now, number 5, real estate gimmick on my list. Listing agent must be present for viewings. Now, what we've talked about so far in terms of gimmicks are, tactics and lies to some extent. Now, this isn't a lie, so to speak. It's just a little bit sneaky. And again, there are exceptions to the rule. You've got an $11 million house. Listing agent must be present for viewings, of course. And that is because they're trying to tell you that when you want to show your friends or your girlfriend because you have a real estate license, let's go through this house. They're trying to weed people out. And that's fair. Now, you also might have a seller that's high maintenance or thinks their house is special or worries about security or something in between. But more often than not, listing agent must be present is an opportunity for that agent to give you the biggest sales pitch you have ever seen in your entire life. Now, my first year in real estate, I'll never forget this. I was showing a house in the West End. It said listing agent must be present. And you can't make this up, guys. So I was 24 and I just could not believe a Porsche pulls up with the roof down. Okay. Music blaring, golf clubs sticking out the back. A guy gets out. He's got hair plugs. He might have been wearing golf shoes. I think he was wearing a shirt that was like a giveaway from one of his trips, Las Vegas, something. And he walks up and he's the real estate agent. And he gave us a sales pitch. He was showing us how the windows crank. That was the thing I remember, and telling us what the brand was. And then there was a built-in cutting board in the kitchen and he pulled it out and was like, look, and he started making a chopping noise. It reminded me of those infomercials for oh God, remember the Miracle Blade? Do you remember when you were younger on a Saturday morning and you would watch infomercials? Ron Popeil's pasta maker. Some of the folks that are my age, I know you know what I'm talking about. And then there was the knife that would cut through cans and boots, and it was always got better. Call now, and they would double the order. We'll give you one to give to a friend. And then it was but if you call now, we'll slash the price. And it just got better and better and better. I don't think that's how you sell real estate. And I'll never forget this guy. I wrote about it on my blog very, very early on. I started my blog in 07, and this was in 04, 05. And I just could not believe the sales pitch. And about halfway through, the couple I was with, and she was Eastern European, so she was like, okay, thank you. And she just turned and walked right out. It was such a freaking turnoff. So look, I've had clients say to me before, I want you to be there for every showing. And I've said I think it's a terrible idea. And the reason why, and this is going on a bit of a tangent here, but let's touch on this point for those of you that think, well, I want the listing agent to be there. First of all, if you're a buyer and you walk into a house and the owners are present or there's a tenant there, you're going to spend less time in there. Subconsciously or consciously, you just are because you don't feel comfortable. But the example I always use is if you were going to a store and you wanted to try on a swimsuit, how would you feel if the person that worked there followed you into the change room and stood there with you? That's what it's like having a listing agent present for viewings. But for our purposes today, talking about real estate gimmicks, what I'm saying is that when the agent insists on being present, it's usually because they want to sell you or your client. And I'll do you one better. They want the opportunity to get in front of your buyer client and tell them everything that they wouldn't be able to tell them otherwise. Now, some of it is overt, like saying, now this waterfall countertop was imported from Italy. Some of it's very overt, and some of it is reserved and tactical, like saying, well, the seller's not home. They're at their country property right now, which is sort of subconsciously or subliminally telling you that they're rich. They don't need to sell. So now they're taking leverage away from you. I do not want a listing agent to be present. And sometimes, to be perfectly honest, when they are, I say, hey, would you just mind? I can take it from here. And some agents respond and they're like, yep, no problem. And some agents look at you like, are you kidding me? They want to walk you through the house, follow you through every single room, and tell you why you should buy it. Listing agent be present to me, absolute gimmick, as I said, unless you've got a $15 million listing. Now, here we go. Here we go. Number 4 real estate gimmick, the letter that says, I have a buyer for your home. Now, again, exceptions to the rule, okay? Tasha, real estate agent, I'm pointing behind the wall. I was working with her earlier this year because I had a client looking for something very specific. And I said, if you can go out there and get it, she door knocked, she dropped off letters. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the real estate agents whose entire business model is sending out thousands, tens of thousands of letters that say, I have a buyer for your home. And some of them even use names. John and Judy are buyers under contract looking for a house exactly like yours. And what is the gimmick here? Well, they say the buyer for your house, I'm not soliciting your listing. I'm not going after that. What I need to do is find a very specific property. And that's they want to make you feel calm. They want to feel no obligation. And in the end, what they're really trying to do is list your house. They're trying to do the exact thing that they said they're not trying to do. Now, here's a really, really funny story. So my colleague, Richard, who I worked with for many years, told me this. One time he went on a listing presentation in Moore Park. And he was there and they said, we just want to let you know, we interviewed another agent. He has a buyer for the house and he is showing it right now. And Richard said, okay, no problem. Coming down the stairs were 2 people, the agent and the buyer. And they looked and they saw Richard and they did one of these. Deer in the headlights. Why? Because the agent was with a friend of his who was pretending to be a buyer. And Richard knew both of them. And he looked up and he didn't really out them. He just said, oh, hey guys. He knew. And yeah, of course, he eventually told the seller, look, that real estate agent's just bringing their friend through. It's a gimmick. And there are agents that do this. There are agents that as a business model, because I get these letters at my house all the time, and it's funny because it's always addressed to my wife. And why they wouldn't cross-reference it and know I'm a real estate agent, I don't know. I don't take it personally. When you send letters out to houses and you say, I have a buyer for your home, the gimmick is you say, oh, this is interesting. Thinking about selling next year, or maybe if the price was right, the agent comes in, they say it's a great house, they're establishing rapport. They set up multiple phone calls, multiple visits. The more that you immerse yourself with the agent, the more you build rapport, gain trust, etc. Some of them will, in fact, bring in that fake buyer, as Richard saw with this agent that he had known for 30 years. And the friend of theirs pretending to be the buyer was a mutual friend. And that buyer was the friend was aghast. Anyways, it's a long story, but he did say afterwards, he's like, I can't believe I did that. But that is the gimmick. And what they do at the end is they say, unfortunately, the house isn't right for my buyers. But I think we could do pretty well in the market. And they do the exact thing they told you they weren't going to do, which is solicit your listing. Now, again, I recognize there are exceptions to the rule. As I said, my colleague Tasha had been doing that great work. Door knocking, letters for specific houses, it does exist. What I am talking about as a gimmick, guys, are the people that do this as a business model. and they're sending out tens of thousands of these letters every single year. Now, gimmick number 3, the entire rental market in Toronto. I'm smiling. Isabella's smiling from behind the camera because she probably has experienced this. I will say this, rental agents in Toronto, some of them, are the hardest working people I've ever met. At the same time, some of the rental agents in Toronto are the absolute biggest scumbags. And real estate is full of scumbags. I don't want to just say that it's rental agents. But what rental agents will do, because the stakes are so low, is they'll steal your rental listing, act as though it's theirs, and try to get leads. Now, let's say that there's a $15 million listing. You're not going to put that on your website or Facebook or Kijiji. If someone's got a $2,200 a month rental, they're not going to fight you when you find that they've put up an ad without asking permission. This happens all the time. It is a massive gimmick. I want to read you an article. 2025, Shane Dingman from the Globe Mail, who in my opinion is the best real estate reporter in the city of Toronto, he writes, headline, rental listing hijacking raises security concerns. Here's the article, guys. Homes for rent that have been hijacked, in quotes, and the loose enforcement of rules over who has access to them are raising concerns about security gaps in the residential property market. Some real estate agents in Toronto say the practice of hijacking a listing, someone copying the properties of the agent contacted to sell property onto their own website, has become almost commonplace. Andre Kutchin, a broker with Harvey Callis Real Estate, said that in mid-June, just days after he listed a client's Gowan Avenue home for rent on the Toronto Real Estate Board's website, multiple listing service, a man named, I'll read it because it's public record, Taylor Tollefson copied the pictures, the description, and the price and created a rental listing under his own name on Facebook Marketplace. It was just one of dozens Mr. Tollefson had created. Mr. Kutchin said there are scores of people, realtors and non-realtors, who repost MLS listings under their own names in hopes of generating a lead or finding a potential client who wants to rent a home. There is financial incentive too. Realtors who find a renter can get a half month's rent as commission, which in the Toronto real estate market can be several $1,000s. TREB requires listing agents to indicate whether they will allow other agents to post the property details on their own sites, which some agree to as a means of boosting a property's exposure. In the case of his Gowan Avenue listing, Mr. Kutchin said he gave no such permission, but his listing ended up on Facebook Marketplace anyways. Mr. Tollefson didn't respond to a request for comment after the Globe contacted the real estate firm associated with his listing. Mr. Tollefson took down dozens of Facebook posts about rental listings on his account. The current decline in the resale housing market may be feeding the urge to get listings no matter how underhanded. Quote, some agents out there are pretty hungry and they're not doing a lot of transactions, said Brandon Sage with Landlord Realty Inc. Mr. Sage adds that those who repost listings without permission can sometimes tweak the owner's information in unhelpful ways. For example, by insisting that only the very best applicants will be accepted. Quote, if these clowns are stealing my listing and then doing things like using the awful AAA tenant preferred, I don't want that associated with our brand, he said. And I completely agree. The entire point is you're trying to control the narrative, the brand, the marketing, the exposure. Picture somebody that's stealing my listing, throwing it up on a website somewhere else, and then changing all the information. It reflects poorly on me or whoever the agent is. Now, RICO, which regulates the industry in the province, has sought to prevent listing hijacking by creating rules around advertising and property access that mean only the listing broker or a cooperating realtor can book a showing of a property and negotiating a deal. In the case of the Gowan Avenue property, it was Mr. Tollefson's ad that found a tenant, but it was public record. Isabella Lazarova, a licensed realtor with Sage Real Estate Limited, who booked the showing in late June and represented the prospective tenants when they agreed to rent the home. Here's where it goes off the rails. You ready for this? However, when the tenants moved in on August 1st, Mr. Kutchin and his landlord clients received a complaint about backyard access. According to the tenants, Mr. Tollefson, in contravention of RICO rules, gave them a tour of the house and told them they would have exclusive access to the rear yard. In order to give the showing, Mr. Tollefson would have had to have the lockbox code to where the key to the door was secured, another RICO violation. That is pretty much a cardinal sin in this business, said Mr. Sage of Landlord Realty. The lockbox tool is a tool of convenience busy realtors use to keep a house key near a property so other realtors can access it via a code. In order to show those properties to buying or leasing clients, sellers have to give written permission for their use, sign a waiver that outlines the potential risks, which include everything from thieves cutting open these metal boxes in order to break into the house to agents losing or giving away the key to someone who's not authorized. In Mr. Cutchin's example, Ms. Lazarova was fired from her brokerage after she admitted to allowing an unlicensed assistant to enter a rental home without her being present. Ms. Lazarova didn't respond to a request for comment. So I use the names, but they're in a Globe and Mail article, so forgive me for doing so. And forgive me for reading that entire thing. I hope you listened. But the point is, guys, and some of you don't care about the rental market, it's not as sexy, but this happens all the time. Real estate gimmicks in Toronto in the rental market are rampant. And in this case, what happened here? They're hardworking agents fishing for leads, but they're doing so illegally and dangerously. And this individual was fired from Sage Real Estate when this article came out. This happens all the time. Facebook Marketplace is full of real estate ads for rental listings for agents that aren't representing the listing. And they know if I have a listing for $2,200 a month for one of my investor clients, I'm not on Facebook Marketplace. But if someone forwards me the ad that's on Facebook Marketplace, how hard am I going to fight that? I can email the agent and say, can you please take this down? And then they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I had permission. I read the listing wrong. It happens all the time. And if you are a prospective renter and you happen to be listening to this or watching this, Facebook Marketplace, this is not where you want to be. Now, number 2 on my list. If we can't sell your house, we'll buy it from you. That could be number 1. Now, let's go off on a tangent. How does insurance work? It's not a dumb question. What I mean is, let's say that I pay $350 a month for my car insurance, and then, oh my God, my car is totaled. Oh, they're going to write me a check for $80,000. I mean, that can't be a successful business model, right? But it is. It is a successful business model. What I would also say, and you know how I feel about gambling, the house always wins, the casino always wins. If you're somebody that wants to lay a bet or, play roulette or do whatever it is, if you were going to win, casinos would be out of business. Casinos don't exist to give people money. They don't run a deficit. They don't operate at a loss. You know how I feel about gambling. The house always wins. And I cannot believe what we've done to this country. Men between 18 and 35, topic for another day. But my point is, whether it's insurance or whether it's a casino, they make money at what they do. So when you see an ad that says, if we can't sell your house, we'll buy it from you, these people aren't working for the church or Greenpeace or a charity. This is a gimmick. They will sign you to a contract and they will guarantee a price that is nowhere near the value of your home. Otherwise, why would they do it? Out of the goodness of their heart? Like I said, is that how the casino works? Is that how the charity works? No. What it is one of, if not the biggest real estate gimmick that I have ever seen. And unfortunately, there are people that fall for it. We can't sell your house, we will buy it from you. That's a guarantee. A guarantee makes you feel really comfortable as a seller. But as I said, you've got to ask, why are they doing it and how are they able to do it? And while this is number 2 on my list, I don't know if there's any more we can say about it. Now, number 1 on our list of real estate gimmicks, the pretend handwritten note. I have a collection of these. And we've all got these in our mailboxes. And it's not just real estate. I get like the pretend handwritten note for the window cleaning company, right? It's sort of like if it's a handwritten note, it's personal and it's unassuming and, it just makes you a little bit more comfortable. But, it's a photocopy. And when it comes to the pretend handwritten notes in real estate, we see these all the time. Here's one. My name is Alex Koramas, and I, $, buy houses, underline, $. I am a serious private buyer offering, and then there's little check boxes, fair cash offer with no bank financing condition. I want to do it in the Leonardo DiCaprio voice. Purchase as is in any condition. I can close on the date you want, doing a different voice, And I will pay for the lawyer of your choice. No obligations, hidden costs, or realtor fees. My offer is private. Unlike MLS, no one will know you are selling. Professional courtesy from an experienced buyer. If you want, it might be too late. Call, phone number. Anytime, I will respond fast. Google and the name or Treetop Properties Corp for more information. Thank you for your consideration. P.S. Not interested in selling, but you want money anyway? I'll pay you $500 or more if I buy an unlisted house you tell me about. No questions asked. I screwed up the DiCaprio voice, but it reminds me of the part when he says, your only regret will be that you didn't buy more. These letters are absolute nonsense. And so I'm always thinking of what the retort would be. Well, David, you're just saying that because you're a real estate agent and these people are competing with you. Okay, then go and call them. Go and call them. Instead of having a professional like me lead you through the entire process of selling your home, getting it renovated, prepared, staged, painted, cleaned, marketed, exposing it to the market for absolute top dollar, call someone that left a note like this with dollar signs written all over it. Here's another one. Hi, my name is Mario, and my partner Josiah and I are interested in buying properties in your area. As investors, we bought 17 houses last year from happy sellers at fair cash offers. We are not real estate agents. Dollar sign, we buy houses with cash, dollar sign. If you're looking to sell for any reason, please call. And there's the phone number. What we offer: cash deal, no banks or additional fees involved. Buy as is, no need to clean or repair. Flexible closing, whether that's 2 weeks or 6 months. Thank you, Mario G. P.S. If you're not trying to sell, save this letter. If you know a neighbor or anyone else who is hoping to sell, all you need to do is provide their name and number. If we close the deal, you will be paid $1,000 or more. I know somebody that made a lot of money with these letters, who's had legal issues, lawsuits, a lot of complaints written about. I'm not saying all of them, but guys, again, I go back to this idea of an insurance company's not in business because they're losing money. A casino is not there because they're losing money. This is a gimmick, and it is the biggest gimmick there is. And I go back to Cash for Gold. Does this not sound a lot like it? Cash for Gold, they tell you, call now. We'll send you our free G-Pack. Again, this is an ad that's 17 years old. The G-Pack was a Ziploc bag that had an address on it that you'd put your gold in and mail it to somebody. Why would you mail a stranger your gold? And then they're just going to give you some sort of amount of money for it? It's the most insane thing I've ever heard. They make it sound unvaluable. You're broken. You're unwanted gold. And that's what these letters do. They make the task of selling a house seem daunting. No need for repairs. No need for cleaning. No need for staging. And then this idea of privacy, it'll never go to MLS. No one will ever know. These people are not doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They are looking to buy properties for substantially less than they're worth. And the one real estate gimmick that didn't really make my list, because it's not a gimmick, is that they often prey on old people. Because when the market's going up, people that have been in their house for 35 years, they can't imagine how much it's going up. And you take somebody that bought a house in 1980, and maybe in 2015 they found out how much it's worth, and they're like, oh my. And then in 2017, 2 years later, they're still anchored on the 2015 price. They have no idea that the market went up 25% in 2 years. And a lot of these letters are answered by older folks that, believe it or not, don't want to have to go to market, don't want to have open houses, don't want to clean and paint and stage and renovate. And then you have someone come in there and give them 70 cents on the dollar for their house. So I have a lengthy collection of these, and they're all more or less the same. And you can just tell the way that they're written. It just looks scummy. The dollar signs, the underlines, the check boxes, and they're selling you stuff that you don't need. They're selling you cash deal. Cash deal? What does that mean? And I've always had this thing about all cash offers. So if you watch real estate TV shows in LA, they'll be like, the deal is all cash. No one in Canada cares. It's a completely different market. We hear this all the time. It's a cash offer. What does that even mean? Now, a cash offer, what that used to mean in our market in the 1980s is there's no vendor take-back mortgage. We're going to give you the $100,000 you're asking for your house. We're going to give you $100,000 instead of giving you 70 and asking you to do a vendor take-back for 30. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a long story. But in the States, when they say cash deal, it's because their banking system is more complicated than ours. We have the best banking system there is. But we also have this system where, and Americans love this, they come up here and they're like, when do I need to provide proof of financing? And I'm like, you don't? And they're like, I don't understand. I'm going to go in and buy this property that's $1 million, give them a $50,000 deposit, and then they're just going to assume I can close with the other $950. And I'm like, yep, that's how our market works. They're aghast because in the United States, you need to show them that you can actually get a mortgage. You need to show them that you have financing in place. Otherwise, a cash deal is king. Oh, we're buying a $10 million house for $10 million in cash. We don't need financing. We're not going into escrow. There's a word that they use all the time in these real estate TV shows. So when I see something like this, cash deal, that alone is a massive red flag. Fair cash offer with no bank financing condition. I can close on the date you want. I will pay for the lawyer of your choice. Oh, you're going to pay me with my own money. You're going to give me $700,000 for my $1 million house, but you're going to pay the $2,000 for the legal fees. Guys, didn't I throw these somewhere? I don't know how I got them back, but did that for effect. Guys, this bothers me more than almost anything else in this industry, I'm going to say. And as I said, I'm not going to out anybody, but I know somebody that used to do this as a model. And it's pretty dirty. And that's why it is number one on our list of real estate gimmicks. So shall we review, guys? Because I had a lot of fun with this. Cash for gold, if you will. Marketing your property internationally. There's a foreign buyer ban. So what good does that do? Sales statistics. Tell me about your sale to list ratio. Exposing your property to off market to my comprehensive database of buyers. I need to go home and watch Wolf of Wall Street. Coming soon signs, fishing for leads. Just listed flyers, again, fishing for more listings. We have the listing agent being present for viewings to give you a sales pitch and to try to undermine the agent that you have there. The I have a buyer for your house letter, which is incredibly common as a business model. All of the stuff that happens in the rental market, specifically reposting listings when you're not authorized to do so. The if we can't sell your house, we'll buy it from you. And the pretend handwritten note. So guys, I had fun with this today, and I hope you did. And as I said, there's exceptions to every one of these, of course, exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, there are a lot of real estate sales gimmicks. And some people might say, well, what about the gimmick of underpricing a house and telling people it's worth less? And no, that's not a gimmick. Oh my God, I sound so hypocritical. That's not a gimmick, that's a strategy. But hear me out. You take a house that's worth whatever it is, $1 million. You price it at $799 with an offer date? No. I think that's fair game. We've been doing that a lot. This is different. This is completely different. And there are people that are going to be like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. I just can't help you with that. So folks, thanks so much for watching. As always, feel free to drop me a comment in the YouTube section. I always love reading those. Please remember to like, comment, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you here next time on The Last Honest Realtor.